Hey there guys, welcome to the channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Simeon Krastev, and this is day 4 of the 30 day to fit challenge that I'm currently taking in 2017, and I'm really excited to have you on board. I'll have the links to video 1 in the series down below, so if you're just joining us, you can start from day 1 and get to this point later on. So day 4 is gonna be an off day, but don't turn off the video just yet, because today I'm gonna be sharing with you a lot of good information about how you can improve your nutrition and how you can actually find out how many calories your body burns a day, so you can figure out how you can eat less than what your body burns a day, and you can shed off that fat extremely fast and get in shape in early 2017. You want to be rocking this year, you want to look good, feel good, so stay with me. I'll give you a lot of valuable information today on how you can improve your nutrition. And what I'll be covering today actually is how to set up a nutrition plan taking your body needs into account. Meaning that we as humans have different needs based on our metabolism, our activity level, our age. So all these factors come into account when you have to design your nutrition plan. So what I'm going to be helping you out today with, guys, is to figure out how many calories a day your body burns and how to actually figure this out yourself. So I've put together a document that I'm going to be sharing the link in the description down below, so you can download it absolutely free. So I'll walk you through the document pretty much, so you don't wonder what is it and what are these formulas. So I've pretty much explained what I'm going to be teaching in the document, but yeah, if you don't know how much energy your body's expending, how many calories you need to maintain your weight, no matter what foods you eat, whether it's healthy or unhealthy, if you eat over the calories your body burns a day, you won't be losing fat. It is as simple as that. So you have to know what is your starting point and how many calories a day you burn. So this is the first step that you should take care of, and once you have this figured out, you can just nail down the things that are adding the most calories to your diet, and you can cut them off one by one over the course of these 30 days. So how to get started? I'm actually using a really simple formula, which happens to be the most accurate one, and it's listed here. First, we have to calculate our basal metabolic rate, meaning that this is how many calories our body burns without any activity. So the formula is really simple. For men, it's 10 multiplied by the weight in kilograms. Then we add 6.25 by our height in centimeters. If you don't know what is your height in centimeters or your weight in kilograms, you can just Google that. There's a calculator for that, so you can transfer it from inches and then from pounds to get the kilograms. And then you subtract 5 multiplied by your age, and you add 5. So how would this turn out for a 40-year-old male who is 80 kilograms and 180 tall? It's going to be 10 by 80, this is the kilograms here, plus 6.25 multiplied by 180, this is the height that you've got here, minus 5, this is the number that we've got here up in the formula, multiplied by the age, which is 40, plus 5. So this equals to total of 1,730 calories. So this guy who is 40 years old, 80 kilograms, 180 tall, he's burning 1,730 calories a day without doing anything. That's just his basal metabolic rate, without getting out of bed. These are the calories needed to maintain his proper functions of the body. So pretty much goes for as for a female. The formula there is a little bit different though. Oh no, it's actually not. Oh yeah. The difference here is that at the end of the formula, instead of adding 5 you just have to remove 161, because obviously women's metabolism is a little bit slower. They don't burn as many calories. So how would this play out for a 40-year-old woman? Yeah, pretty much the same. You just replace the numbers here in the formula, and that would equate to, for a 40-year-old woman that is 65 kilograms and 162 centimeters tall, that would equate to 1,302, let's say, just round it up, 2 calories. So how to figure out what is your activity level and to figure out how much calories exactly are you burning. So once you have your BMR calculated, you then have to multiply it by your activity level to figure out what is the calories that your body needs a day to sustain its functions and to sustain the weight that you're currently at. So if you're completely sedentary, meaning that you go to work with your car, you don't move at all, or just exercise very, very slightly, meaning you do some stretching or probably walking like once a week or twice a week, just consider it sedentary. So you have to multiply your basal metabolic rate, which you got from the previous formula, by 1.2. Then next on the list is lightly active, and these guys, if you do exercise 1 to 3 times a week, but it's still nothing like serious. It's more of a recreational sport, meaning that you do like walking twice a week and probably 1 day of exercising, slight exercise in the gym, or you're swimming once a week and walking, just moderate, nothing serious, just recreational type of activities. You then multiply your BMR by 1.3 or 1.4. I'd like to go for the lower end just to make sure. So if you're unsure if you're lightly active or sedentary, just go for the 1.3 if you're exercising a bit. Now for the moderately active, I would consider this most of the people who are following the 30-day to fit challenge plan. It's a moderate exercise, meaning 3 to 5 days a week, exercising for 45 minutes to an hour. So then you would multiply your BMR by 1.5 or 1.6. I like to go for the lower end, so I would multiply my weight, my calories by 1.5. For the very active ones, this is like hard exercise, meaning that you're working out 6 times a week for an hour and a half or more, and you train with the purpose of muscle building, meaning that your workouts are extremely heavy. You would then obviously need to eat a lot more food, so you have to multiply the BMR by 1.7 or 1.8. And for the extremely active ones, I would consider those who have an extremely demanding physical job, physical labor, either that's going to be a construction worker or a waiter, somebody who's walking 10 hours a day, and then on top of that is exercising extremely hard. That would be considered somebody who's extremely active. So they would have to multiply their BMR by 1.9 or 2 actually. So let's see how that plays out for our 40-year-old male who trains 4 times a week. He's moderately active, just like you are, guys, if you're following the 30-day to fit challenge plan. So we multiplied by 1.6 in this case. So we've got our 1,730 calories from the previous page that we've calculated already, the BMR. So we multiplied it by 1.6, so we get a total of 2,768 calories. That would be the maintenance calories that his body needs to sustain its functions and to keep him at his current weight. So meaning that if he's 80 kilograms, if he wants to stay at that level, he wants to stay at that kilograms, he'll have to eat 2,768 calories daily. As for our 40-year-old female who trains 2 times a week, she is slightly active. We multiply her weight by 1.3 or 1.4. So we've got this 1,302 calories from the previous page, and then we multiply it by 1.4. I know I've said I'm usually going for the lower end. I don't know why I've used the higher end here, but anyway, for her to maintain her weight current weight, which is 65 kilograms, she would need to eat 1,822 calories. Oh, actually, I see where I come from here. Always aim for the higher end. In these cases, 1.6 and 1.4. It's better to start with more calories, and as you hit a plateau, you adjust the calories from there. This is how I usually like to start with my clients, because I'm overseeing what they're doing, so I can make the adjustments myself. But if you're unsure, I would rather go for the lower end. If you're doing this by yourself, meaning that you're calculating your calories by yourself, always go for the lower end, because we have this tendency to think that we're more active than we actually are. So yeah, start with the lower end. Okay, so now that you know how to calculate your daily calorie expenditure, I'll show you a few extras on how to break down actually these calories and figure out how much food you need. So probably, as you know, the nutrients are broken down into three types, and the three main types of macronutrients that are essential for your body to sustain its function are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So what is essential for you to know here is that in every gram of carbohydrates there are 4 calories per gram. In every gram of protein there are 4 calories per gram, and the fats, they're more calorie dense than carbohydrates and proteins, and they're 9 calories per gram. And that's the very reason why fatty food is so calorie dense, and we should try to stay away as much as we can from fatty foods. I didn't mention it in this document, but alcohol also has 7 calories per gram. So the thing with alcohol though is that these are empty calories, so we have to be extremely cautious when we're drinking, not to eliminate it completely, but just be aware of the fact that alcohol also has calories and it adds up, especially on Friday night if you have 5 or 6 cocktails. So let's see what we have now here. Okay, so how to set up macronutrient targets based on the calories we figured. Before I go into this step, I'll just say that men tend to operate better on a high carbohydrate diet, because they utilize the energy source, the glycogen that they get from the carbohydrates as an energy source much faster than women, while women tend to operate better on a higher fat diet and lower carbohydrates, just because their body functions differently. They undergo different processes, so yeah, they operate better on a high fat diet and lower carb one. So just have that in mind as you're designing the plan for yourself. Okay, so let's get into it. When you're setting up a plan for yourself, always try to have the protein target first, because this is the most essential thing that we need for either fat loss or muscle growth. It doesn't matter, you have to start with the protein, and you have to make sure that you're eating a sufficient amount of protein per day. So let's see, for muscle growth, I usually start with the lower end of the protein, meaning that is 2.5 grams of protein per kilogram. So for our male that is 80 kilograms, that would be 220 grams of protein. And we are starting lower with our protein intake, because we'll be getting enough food. We won't be starving, meaning that you get the sufficient calories and you'll be in a surplus, so your body won't be in demand for this energy, and we'll be able to use the protein that you consume in order to help you build muscle. But if you're in a fat loss phase, because your body will be in a deficient state, meaning that you won't be consuming enough food, you have to have your protein a little bit higher, just to make sure you're not using this muscle that you've worked so hard to build for energy. So when you're designing your plan for a fat loss, just make sure you aim towards the higher end of protein consumption, meaning 3 grams per kilogram of body weight. So let's see what we have here. Our 80 kilogram male athlete whose goal is muscle growth, we multiply 2.5 by his 80 kilograms, and we get to 200 grams of protein per day is his would be his goal if he's muscle building, or that's 800 calories just from protein. If our athlete goal is fat loss, we'll take this approach. We'll multiply his weight by 3, just as I said. We're aiming towards the higher end of protein here, and he would need to consume 240 grams of protein per day, or 960 calories. As I said, always start the macronutrient breakdown with the protein adequate intake, because it helps you build muscle or prevent muscle loss if you're in a caloric deficit. It also controls appetite, because your body absorbs the calories from protein rather slower than it would be from carbohydrates and fat, and keeps you satiated for a long time, so you won't be feeling hunger every hour or so, like you would do if you have more carbohydrate based diet or fat dense one. So once we figure this out, next on the list would be setting our fat targets, and here we are aiming really low. We need just enough to sustain our bodily functions, because essential fats help us help our kidneys function and absorb the nutrients, help our body and metabolic functions to stay on top levels, and actually support our goal, whether that be muscle building or fat loss. You gotta have sufficient amount of healthy fats in your diet. So start at the low end, because fats are high in calories here. So as I said previously, 9 calories per gram of fat. It's better to have some margin for error if you go over by mistake. So for example, here our 80 kilogram male athlete, for him the equation would look something like this: 0.8 multiplied by 80 kilograms, that would be 64 grams of fat, or 576 calories. And then once we've figured this out, you pretty much do the same if he's losing weight. You still aim at the lower end here, but once we figure this out, setting the carbohydrates target is the last that we would do on the list, and we fill up pretty much the rest of our remaining calories with carbohydrates, because they're easily utilized as an energy and they're not as essential macronutrient. It gives you that energy, but your body can sustain its function for prolonged periods of time without carbohydrates, meaning that you can go 3, 4, even 5 or 6 days without carbohydrates, but it would be extremely hard for you to go without protein and fats in your diet. So for our 80 kilogram male, the equation would look like this, meaning how we're going to figure out his carbohydrates that he has to consume. From the previous calculations that we did, he has to consume 2,768 calories a day, and if his goal is fat loss, this is his daily maintenance calories. So we've already have 960 calories from protein that we've gotten from the equation up above, 576 calories from fat, or 64 grams of fat, and then the rest would be what we are left with is 1232 calories from carbohydrates, or 300 grams of carbohydrates. So pretty much you have your daily calorie goal that you have on the list there, that you've calculated for yourself. So let's say that's 2700. So you deduct the grams of protein that we've already calculated, we've deduct the fat, and the calories that we have left we're gonna use as carbohydrates. Sorry about that. So let's see. So yeah, here I'm going how to adjust your calories based on your goal. I go really in detail here. What's a non-linear approach, you would ask? Meaning that I would match the calories consumed with the training output, but this is for my clients. So if I'm creating the plan for them, I can easily track that. But if you're just starting out or unsure what to do, I would keep it extremely simple. So just have this number figured out. So let's say you're burning 2,500 calories a day. Just cut that by 500, guys. You don't have to track every single calorie and just look at every label. but just have a basic understanding that your body burns this many calories a day. So if you want to lose weight, just cut back on some of the things if you know that you're going over these 2000 calories. So having this in mind, just make sure that you eat less than you burn, and on the training days you can allow yourself to eat a little bit more actually, so you can have this energy to push through the workout. So if you know you have a extremely heavy workout coming on that very day, you can eat these 2500 calories. You can eat the maintenance calories for your body, so you have the energy, and it actually helps you fill the depleted muscles with glycogen as well. So it's good every now and then to have a maintenance day rather than being a deficit for a straight period of time for like 20 or 30 days. So try to have 1 or 2 days a week where you get to eat your maintenance calories. And if you're trying to build up muscle, meaning that you want to increase your current weight, just eat more. And don't start with eating 1000 calories more, because your body can't utilize that, meaning that you will be gaining fat rather than building muscle. But start small. Start by increasing your calories by 500 and see how that works for your body. So if your maintenance level is 2500 calories a day, just eat 3000. Do this for 2 weeks. Hop on the scale, see how that reflects on your weight, and just look in the mirror if you can see any improvement, or if you're building muscle or not. If you're getting bloated, just reduce these calories by 200, so have 2800 instead of 3000. Just play with it, because we're all different. I can't give you a general advice here. This is what I would usually do with my clients. This is how I would approach it. But then I have the experience with working with different athletes, so I know everybody's different in a way, and I've came across different situations, so I know how to approach it. But if you're uncertain, just play with it, or just shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to help you out with that. I've already told you how to do that for fat loss as well. Let's see. Fiber, guys. Yeah, fiber is really important as well, because it helps you with your digestion regularity, weight management, blood sugar regulation, cholesterol maintenance, and it's overall one of the steps that we usually tend to neglect when we're taking care of our nutrition, but it's good to have sufficient fiber intake. And what sufficient would mean, if you're a female, around 50 or 60 kilograms, 20 grams of fiber a day is a good thing to start with. And if you're a male, which is 80 kilograms, 40 years old, having 30 grams of fiber is a good way to start. You can either take supplement for it, or just have some more whole grain foods in your diet, or oatmeal for breakfast is really good. All the berry foods are also rich in fiber, so you can have strawberries, blueberries. These are all good sources of fiber. As for vitamins, I'll keep it extremely simple, guys. You know, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, so this is a mantra that you should live by. Obviously, if you're a female, meaning that you're eating around 1200 or 2000 calories a day, just try to have a fruit or two a day, or 2 cups of fruit, meaning if you're eating like berries and stuff. Else just have a piece of fruit or two, and try to have a little bit of salad with every meal you have. If you're a guy and you're consuming more calories, obviously you have to eat more fruits and vegetables as well. So try to have either 3 fruits or vegetables, or just 3 cups of greens, or 3 cups of berries on the side. Water intake, really important as well. So there's a formula for that, but if you don't want to dive so deep into it, just make sure, if you're a female and you're daily active, try to have at least 2 liters of water. 2.5 is recommended. And if you're living in a place where the humidity is high, try to aim towards 3 liters a day. And if you're a guy who's around 80 kilograms, as we have in the example here, just try to have at least 3 liters a day. And if you're living in a more humid place, try to have 3.5, 4 liters a day. A good way to measure if you're having enough water or not is to see if your urination's clear, meaning that are you pissing yellow or your urination's clear. If it is, then you're having enough. Meal frequency, I won't dive into that, but there's a very little correlation between the meal frequency and how it affects your body composition. So you can just split these calories between 2, 3, 5, or 6 meals depending on your availability. I like myself to have me 2 meals a day, so I would usually have lunch and then dinner. I usually don't have breakfast, so this works for me. I've tried it both. I've been eating 6 times a day in the past, and it didn't reflect on my physique in any way. I just have to think more about food, and pretty much my life revolves around food, so that's why I don't like this approach. But if you prefer eating 6 meals a day, feel free to do that, but just make sure you adjust the quantities. So making changes to continually progress. As I've said previously, just make sure you play around with the calories that you're consuming. So use this calculation as a basic guideline. Don't take it for granted, guys. So just play around it. If you see that you're losing weight extremely fast, just add up a little bit more calories. If you're not losing, just make sure you reduce them a little bit, and so on. Use common sense here. Also, one more thing that I forgot to mention is that when you consume a high in carbohydrates diet, you tend to hold more water, because for every gram of carbohydrates you get to hold 4 grams of water. And that's what I see with many of my clients. They go on a diet for a week, so they cut all the carbs, because that's how you lose fat. That's what everybody's preaching. So they drop all this water off, so they lose the water weight for that week, and they're like, oh, I've dropped 15 pounds, I've dropped 20 pounds. But then when they go back to normal and start consuming carbohydrates again, they would have one day where they consume like 300-400 grams of carbohydrates, and they instantly gain all that weight back because of the water retention they get. So this is another thing to keep in mind. If you keep your consumption of carbohydrates steady, your body will get adjusted to it, so you won't get to hold water. But if you're carbohydrate depleted, meaning that you don't eat carbohydrates for a few days, you might experience some water retention once you get back at it. So the application that I use for tracking my calories, I'm not actually using it now, but when I'm preparing myself for a competition or for a photo shoot, I like to use it. It's called MyFitnessPal. You can just download it from the App Store or Android. What was the Android? From the Play Store, yeah. You can download it from there and just put in your calories, the calories that you are eating per day. And it's pretty accurate because they have all the foods in there, because somebody who's already entered it, you can just browse. They have a huge library of foods. I mean, they have everything you can think of pretty much, so you can just get a base of how many calories each food is, so you can just eyeball stuff later on, just like I do now. I don't have to track my calories. I can just I call it guesstimate, because I have a basic understanding of how calories work and how much approximately a food, how many calories a food would be. So yeah, I just eyeball the food and don't track the calories unless I'm preparing for a competition. So this is pretty much it, the document, guys. I also offer a custom meal plan. If you'd like, I can help you out with that. Just shoot me an email, and I'll leave a link down in the description where you can download this guide and do the calculations for yourself. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please like it, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And see you on day 5 of the challenge.